People who won a lifetime supply of a product. What did you win? How did you win it, and are you still receiving said product? Story 1. Donuts. I get 365 donuts a year from a local donut shop in my hometown. I give them to a children's home who in turn gives them to kids on their birthday. It was a smart move by the donut shop because to make sure everyone gets their fill I pay to double the order plus I get them juice and milk. I won this 16 years ago and they have always honored the prize. Story 2. Pentel pens in a writing contest. I won 30 years ago. I got an engraved executive when I won, but I also get a 12-pack of Energils a year, 2 alloy barrels, and 1 libretto. They usually send me a 3-pack of any new pens or colors coming out too. I've been to their headquarters and factory in Japan. I explained who I was and what I had won, which they verified with order and shipping history. I got to take an in-depth tour with a senior EVP and got sets of drafting pencils, graph gear sharps, unique Japanese pens, and an original 1962 sign pen. I had one when I was younger. Several years later I was there training judo. I literally walked into their building to the receptionist and explained. A man came out, took my info and story, then left. He came back with some papers, which turned out to be a copy of every shipment they'd sent. He was surprised I was telling the truth. He went and got the senior EVP, and with my friend translating we had a great time. They were still making some of their best fountain and executive pens by hand, and that was 1999. Story 3. My friend won a lifetime supply of toilet paper. It started as a joke. He entered the contest just for fun, never expecting to win, but then the company called him up, and next thing we know, he's got a garage full of toilet paper. The funny part is, my friend is the last person who'd ever think about needing that much toilet paper. He's super organized and he lives alone, so he's always been the type to buy in bulk and have a stockpile of essentials. Winning this contest was like hitting the jackpot for him. He got so much toilet paper that he ended up giving it away to friends and family. For months, everyone knew that if they were running low, they could just call him up. He even donated a bunch to local shelters, which was really cool. The supply lasted longer than he expected, but eventually it ran out. It was a good run though. He said it felt like a little bit of a burden had been lifted when he finally had to go out and buy toilet paper again. Story 4. I won a trivia thing from a radio station in 2015. The prize was a lifetime supply of Passes movie candy from AMC theaters. They gave me a gift card looking thing to show at AMC that allows up to 40 in snacks for free plus admission. It's been almost 10 years and this card still works. It saved my butt so many times when I was struggling financially I could go get dinner or sit in air conditioning for a few hours. I'm honestly shocked that it's still valid, but it's probably the best thing I've ever won in my life. Story 5. I won a lifetime supply of jelly beans from Jelly Belly when I was a teenager. I had the option of 1 delivery of a 3 kilograms bag, or 3 deliveries over the course of a year of 1 kilogram bag. I was forced by my mother to choose the second option so I didn't gorge myself. Story 6. I didn't win it. I accidentally bought it. Some years ago I wanted to make the garden a bit prettier. I checked on some auction site and someone offered a leftover batch of chalk to improve the soil. We agreed I would pay €30 shipping included. 3 days later a delivery guy arrived completely pissed off, banging the door and shouting why I would let this be delivered by a standard parcel delivery service. I didn't have a clue what he was talking about until he showed me the packages. Apparently the seller sent me 8 30 kilograms bags of chalk. I require about 5 kilograms of chalk a year for my garden. With the 240 kilograms of chalk I got, I can last almost 50 years. By the time I'm out of chalk, I would be over 100 years old, which is an age not that many people will become, let alone while still gardening. Bottom line, for €30 including shipping I now have a lifetime supply of chalk. Story 7. Lifetime of free car washes with the purchase of my truck. They went out of business, but I also stopped using the service because the car washes consisted of running my truck through an old car wash that was doing more damage than good. Story 8. During the Olympics closing ceremony, they mentioned that one country offered among other prizes a lifetime of free colonoscopies to the gold winner. Story 9. I won a lifetime pass to Smuggler's Cove Minigolf when I was young by winning a monthly birthday drawing. It was in the shape of an embossed credit card, raised numbers and name. They sold the location to Pirates Cove Minigolf, which did not honor my lifetime pass. Years later, Smuggler's Cove returned to the original location, and when I tried to use the lifetime pass, they did not honor it. It turns out it wasn't valid for my lifetime, rather the length of ownership of original Smuggler's Cove mini golf course. Story 10. I won a lifetime supply of milk duds from a movie theater contest in the 90s, but in fine print it said it was only for a year. I ate so much I am now disgusted by them. Story 11. 3 bots here that all claim they won a lifetime supply of something 3 times. You Big Concern 7494 and You Commercial These 6628 and You Weekly Coyote 5376. Honorable mention to You Onsinks 196 that reposted the exact same answer to a, different phrased but, same question. Story 12. I won a lifetime supply of pasta. A supermarket in my town closed down its branch and gave away their products in a raffle. I bought a ticket for $2 at a festival and ended up winning the entire pasta section. Story 13. I didn't win as such, but I saved a pizzeria owner from a major problem with the tax authorities, due to the failure of his computer. In 1999 or so, when I asked what I wanted for payment, I said you can serve food and wine for my wife and daughter tomorrow. He did, and said he would do for as long as he is in business. He still honors this 25 years later. Story 14. In college, My wife won a lifetime supply of Red Bull in one of those tag things. The one where you build your own downhill snow sled. She got thrown clear from her team's sled, knocked the out, and had a wicked injury fully recovered though, all on video. The lifetime supply was easily 12 years worth if you had one a day. But college kids gonna college, and it was half gone within 4 years of winning it lol. Story 15 lifetime supply of pizza, pasta or salad from a chain place in Sydney. They have about 5 locations. Have used it about 200 times in the past 5 years. Wasn't one, but they only sold 200 of them and it is likely the best purchase I have made in terms of value. Still go there a few times a month. Story 16 I won a lifetime supply of lawn fertilizer from some random magazine I filled out when I was stoned as and thought it said a lawnmower. I didn't have a lawn anyway because I lived in an apartment in downtown Seattle and didn't know what to do with it, so I just gave it to my dad for $500 who had a huge property out in the rainforest where he didn't need it anyway. Story 17 My grandma had an awesome sense of humor. We were all with her the days leading up to her dying at 93 in her own home. It wasn't particularly sad, we were celebrating her life. At one point she was lying in bed and held up a half-full box of the candy Tic Tacs and said lifetime supply. Story 18 When I bought my truck, it came with free oil changes for the life of the vehicle, second oil change. Mechanic comes to me with a bunch of additional suggested services. I declined. He says, well, if you decline these services we have to charge you for the oil change. Never went back. Story 19 Jerry's pizza owner in Burke, Virginia, challenged me to eat a large pepperoni pizza and a foot-long Fat Daddy sub 1900 calories within 30 minutes. I did it in half the time by folding the pizza into quarters like a thick calzone. I got a free large pizza once a week. I stopped bragging about this feat BC. I found out Mondays were 5 pizza night and I really didn't win a substantial prize. Story 20 I went to school with someone who won a lifetime supply of chocolate milkshake. He was about 8 at the time and his mum asked for it all in one go, and donated it to the school and local food banks. Story 21 Unfortunately not a lifetime, but a year's worth of donuts from a local restaurant. They specialize in audacious donuts during their brunch hours and held an ugly Christmas sweater contest during a brunch in December. They called to tell me I had won and to come and pick up my prize after the holidays. It was a punch card for getting a free donut each week of the year. We went ahead and took advantage of the freebie while we were there and I enjoyed what would surely be one of many free donuts that year. Yes, 2020 was lining up to be a real winner. Story 22 I had a male buddy in college whose legal name was a traditionally female name who got drunk one night and entered a contest to win a lifetime supply of feminine hygiene products. He won and it was really awkward. Story 23 posted this before but I didn't win a lifetime supply. In fact I didn't win anything. I got a free plain donut from Krispy Kreme for taking part in a 3-question customer survey submitting a code for my receipt. Thing is they sent me a barcode to my phone. The barcode didn't appear to have any expiry or state any rules such as one-time use, so a week later I went into the shop to try my luck and alas it worked again. Another free donut. I did this about 20 times with no issues. Then I screenshotted the pic and sent it to all my friends who also managed to claim a free donut. I did this for about 3 years each time I passed a Krispy Kreme store, as did all my friends. The best part was I never even bought the first one. I just found a random receipt with code on Google and used that. I don't even like them and just used to give them to the next homeless person I saw. Haven't done it for a while but as far as I'm aware it still works and my friends are still receiving their regular treats at it. For those asking for the barcode I'm sorry but I won't be sharing. There is literally no upside. That's a quick road to ending this free run and eBay have been doing it so many years it would be stupid of me to do so. When it was just me I might have done. As I said I don't really like them but now I risk upsetting my whole friend circle and the local homeless community by giving that out. Story 24 I found a box with a ton of Rubio's promo coupons in a storage locker I bought at auction. They didn't have expiration dates. I had hundreds if not thousands of free entree, free drink, free chips and guacamole cards. My friends and I ate Rubio's for a few years until we finally ran out. Was a sad day when I had to pay for my fish tacos the first time. I still find a coupon from time to time in my boxes of stuff in the garage every once in a while still. Story 25 I won a lifetime supply of Mountain Dew Live Wire while in college. Some random sponsored drawing on the drill field. What I received was 2 large pallets during finals week, and it was nearly a lifetime supply. My kidneys nearly failed. I spent a few days in the hospital. I gave the rest of the dew to my apartment complex, and to this day, I cannot even look at Mountain Dew without my stomach turning. Story 26 When I was stationed in South Korea 2014, there was a defector from the north that went across the demilitarized zone. He was shot by the North Koreans a few times as he made his crossing. The guy woke up in a hospital in Seoul and asked for choco pie. Choco pies are a Korean version of a moon pie. The company that makes them, Latte, stated that he would never have to worry about not getting a choco pie again. As far as I know this defector has a lifetime supply of Korean moon pies. Story 27 Back in the mid-90s early days of the internet I won the March Madness Bracket Challenge and it included a lifetime supply of Gillette razors. So every year right after the first of the year, I receive whatever the latest and greatest razor they are promoting and 24 refills. I have even moved twice since then and never provided a change of address. But they still show up like clockwork. I also won 5K cash, a Spalding basketball, 12 large Pizza Hut pizzas, and 4 Jiffy Lube oil changes. I enter a lot of contests and have never won a lifetime supply of anything, but I did win a year supply of Subway that came in the form of a massive gift card. I won the gift card while I was in college and pretty much had Subway 2x a week for a year. I no longer eat Subway. Story 28. Viktor Sibic, a railway inspector in Velká Brezno in today's Czech Republic, agreed to become the face of the Breznik brewery in 1906 in exchange for a lifetime weekly ration of 30 liters of their beer. He died 10 years later, aged 59, a very popular man. The brewery continues to use his portrait on their products to this day. Story 29. Not a lifetime supply, but I did win a 53 trailer full of ramen noodles. I found a CD that our college radio station was getting rid of, and there was a contest on the sleeve to name the band and get free ramen. They picked my choice of Life of Agony, and soon a tractor trailer arrived with the goods. They literally dropped off a full tractor trailer, and I was on my own for emptying it. Most of it went to vagrants and thieves that walked by it. Story 30. I won free donuts for a year from being the first customer at the grand opening of a Krispy Kreme donut shop. Spent 16 hours waiting along with a bunch of other people, who all got t-shirts. What I got was a punch card for 52 dozen donuts, that expired 1 year from the date of opening. Story 31. One of my friends won a lifetime supply of dog food through a contest he entered on a whim. He was ecstatic at first, who wouldn't be, but then his dog developed an allergy to the specific brand after a year or so. Now he just donates the bags he still gets to the local animal shelter. So yeah, he's still getting it, but it's not exactly going to use as originally planned. Story 32. Not me, but a relative of mine bought a closet full of extra-large half-gallon mugs from Dunkin' Donuts in the mid-90s. The cups were sold at a premium with a contract stating that the user was entitled to a $0.99 fill-up of any beverage for life. His thinking was that he'd be able to save thousands over the next decades by getting iced coffee by the gallon and never paying more than $1. A few of the cups have worn out or been destroyed, but he still has many left. He's pretty well known by all the local dunks now. Anytime he goes to a new location, he has to explain the situation to a barista, the manager, and then escalate to corporate. Some stores won't honor it even with proof from corporate. Most of the baristas are younger than the cups themselves. Story 33. This is not technically something I won, but when I got braces my mom somehow managed to get them to write free retainers for life in my file. I have since had dental work done other places and moved to a different area, but if one of my retainers cracks or gets worn I still contact them for an appointment. I think the orthodontist who wrote it is long since retired. The receptionists are always confused when I call and say that's not a thing they offer, but I insist they pull my file, and when they see it they end up honoring it. Even if one day I call and my file is not there anymore since I was a patient so long ago, it's probably saved me thousands of dollars over the years. Story 34. The story of the Casa Sanchez tattoo is relevant here, largely for how well they delivered. Long story short, a local taqueria in San Francisco offered free tacos for life if you got a tattoo of their logo, first in 1998, then they revived it in 2010. The problem is that they closed the restaurant in 2012 and moved into just selling chips, salsa, and the like in grocery stores. However, they put a clause in the lease of the pupuseria that took over their old location that people with the tattoos still get free pupusas. So a little over 20 years later it appears to still be holding up, more or less. Story 35. I won a Life de Mia supply of chocolate, but it was handed to me all at once. I ended up setting up in the middle of town and offered every resident as much chocolate as they could eat. It was probably the biggest congregation of people in that admittedly small town's history. All the chocolate was gone by the end of the day. Story 36. My family received free Pizza Hut for life because they used our house for a commercial and some advertisements. It was awesome. We had it for around 12 years, but then they changed some executives and decided to revoke it, so not for life, but still having it that long was awesome. We would just order like 10 pizzas for a party or something, and the delivery driver would always be so confused. They would look down at the receipt confused and say it says you don't owe anything. We would always tip very well though since we didn't have to pay for pizza, so they still loved us. Story 37. I won a lifetime supply of corn nuts during a promo for their pepperoni pizza flavor. I assumed that this would have been like a laminated card that I could take to a convenience store and say nah, the corn nuts are already taken care of. No. I got 6 giant boxes of packs of corn nuts in various flavors, pepperoni pizza being the absolute worst. After a couple of weeks I was giving corn nuts to anyone who would cross my path and would entertain a snack that resembles the consistency of human teeth. I wondered how they came up with the appropriate number of boxes to be considered a lifetime supply. I can say that after that experience I never want to see another corn nut again, so I would consider it to be a lifetime supply. Story 38. Not a lifetime supply, but I won a year's supply of free meals from Qdoba when I was in college. They just give you a gift card with 52 free meals loaded on it. As a college student it was heaven. I heard of another student who won the same prize but they had a typo on their card and got 520 burritos instead of 52. Story 39. Didn't win a lifetime supply, but a while back I ordered some deodorant and the company sent me 3 cases of deodorant instead of 3 packs. I literally haven't bought deodorant in 6 years. Even after giving some away, I am actually down to my last pack and I know I'm going to have to buy more soon, which makes me pretty sad. Story 40. I had a coworker that won a year's supply of Cinnabon, basically a free Cinnabon every day for a year. She lasted about 3 months before she couldn't do it anymore and gave me the coupon. I had the coupon for a couple of weeks before we just started sharing the coupon around the office. I think we just all stopped after 6 months. It was just too much for any one person to handle. Story 41. I once won McDonald's Happy Meals for a year in one of their Monopoly games. It's really once a week for a year. I was a teenager, and thought it was hilarious. I will never use this. My mom thought it was awesome. Every week for a year she went to McDonald's and ordered one Happy Meal. She said she got the funniest looks, but that was her lunch. Story 42. I won a lifetime pass for a mini golf and go-kart place that was popular in my area back in the 80s. It wasn't a random drawing, it was a prize for a contest to raise funds for a specific charity. They made a whole big deal about it, and my picture was in the local paper. I got the pass, which was a business card-sized laminated paper with their branding, my name, a barcode, and irrevocable lifetime pass. The first time I went to use it, they refused to let me in. I called the next day to speak with the manager, and he told me the whole thing was a publicity stunt and I should feel good for having raised money for charity. I tried again and was denied access to the park. Then the third time I was denied entry, the card was confiscated, and I was lifetime banned. Nobody cared. The paper that ran the article, the contest organizers, nobody. I couldn't help but smirk when that place went out of business, but they went out of business maybe 10 years ago, so I missed out on something like 30 years of using that pass. Of course I respected their lifetime ban, and was always open about my story and how I got banned for trying to use the lifetime pass they had given me. But nobody cared. Update: this is a story about a kid getting screwed out of a prize through a loophole. Nobody was bodily harmed, nobody starved, there were no threats of violence. It's a case of poor business ethics, not a cause for moral outrage. Poor kid got screwed, but the world continued to spin, the tide continued to ebb and flow, and hurt feelings eventually were overcome. Please keep that in mind. Nothing I've mentioned here is worthy of anything more than a WTF, as this pales in comparison to the real problems we face in this world. Story 43. There was a place near me selling free tacos for life, once a week of 2 tacos meal for 100. They went out of business 3 months later. Not sure if it was because of the deal, or they knew and were trying to milk some extra cash before closing. Story 44. Finally I get to answer this question. Last year my husband pulled one of the Topps Taco Fractor cards. Now they put out like 300 of them with different players, so we had to wait till the playoffs to find out if he won or not. Well, he did end up winning and got Taco Bell for life, which was actually a gift card for $15,000, which is an insanely large amount of Taco Bell, so as you can imagine, we took to eBay and sold it off for the money. Story 45. Drove from Illinois to New England when my daughter was 3 at Christmas to see family. Coming home we stopped at a bigger Holiday Inn with a bar and restaurant. While I was checking in, the desk clerk noticed it was my birthday and said he was going to give me a lifetime supply of free cocktail coupons. He hands me a huge mailing envelope overflowing with coupons. I was pretty pumped up and used the first coupon that night, was bragging about it to our server, and she looked at me and said, "You know that these coupons all expire on December 31st. Ended up using exactly 2 coupons. Neither my wife nor I really looked forward to getting up at 8 the next morning and driving 500 miles while hungover. Story 46. I didn't technically win anything, but they didn't want me to return it, so in a way it's a win. I ordered a tube of grease for my truck, the kind you use for wheel bearings. They sent me a case of these tubes. I used about half a tube to pack my bearings. Bearings are good for around 100k miles. They sent me 20 tubes. I think that's fair to say I now have a lifetime supply of grease. Story 47. My friend once had a birthday party at a bowling alley when we were kids, and his dad preloaded one of those arcade cards with like 30. Well, something must have gotten up because we had like 5 kids sharing that card, and it easily should have ran out by the end of the party. He proceeded to have his birthday at that same bowling alley the next several years, bringing the same arcade card with him, and it always worked for seemingly hours of gaming at the arcade. We got so many prizes literally because of an infinite tickets hack that somehow came to us. It worked for maybe about 4 years till it finally said it was empty. To this day we have no idea how much was actually on the card. Story 48. Met someone many years ago who'd got life-threatening food poisoning on a plane. The out-of-court settlement was free first-class travel, worldwide, for life. Unfortunately, it was with Pan Am. Story 49. Got a lifetime supply of Oots chips. That worked out to about 6 boxes of chips, I think. It wasn't what I would consider a lifetime supply, but it was enough to make a pie crust of chips about 14 thick throughout my entire house after the Great Chip War of 2005. Story 50. In high school, when Sirius Radio first came out, my dad bought me a lifetime pass as a graduation gift. A few years later my car was totaled in Hurricane Sandy. When I went to go switch the radio sub to my new car, they informed me the lifetime was the lifetime of the radio and not me. I made a big stink about it being a natural disaster, and eventually they gave me a free transfer. About 8 years later a class action lawsuit made them give everyone with lifetime subs free transfers forever, so now I'm good again. Story 51. Not me, but my sister. She got a lifetime supply of gasoline, actually. 1 fill-up per week that lasted as long as the company stayed in business. It failed after a couple of years. Story 52. It turns out a lifetime supply of root beer is not an unlimited supply of root beer. Apparently it's only 2 root beers a day. What do they think I'm gonna drink all the root beer? I mean, I couldn't if I tried, probably. Story 53. When I was 11, I won a lifetime supply of Doritos and a few swag items on some kind of website promotion. Turns out you had to be 13 or older to enter, and I couldn't claim my prize. I'm now 24, and not a week has gone by where I haven't thought about what my life could have been with that unlimited lifelong supply of Doritos. Story 54. My BFF won a lifetime supply of Virgin Cola. What this ended up equaling was the delivery of a few thousand cans of Virgin estimate of how much cola he'd drink over his lifetime. Pretty soon his was coming out brown. On the other hand, he made art from the cans. Story 55. When I was 9 years old, I won a lifetime supply of calendars. The company sent me a box of 68 calendars. They based it off the average life expectancy. Story 56. My wife won Starbucks for life, which is one food or beverage item per day for 30 years. The first year we used it literally every day to try to see if they'd cash us out. It's still pretty rare we miss a day. Sometimes we run in before close and grab one of the food boxes for a snack for the kids the next day. Biggest pain is when they change their app and the codes stop working, and getting the tax forms in the new year. There's no contact we can reach out to, so it always takes months to get anything resolved, because no one knows what to do or how the program works. Story 57. Not me, but my friend won a lifetime supply of pizza from a national chain. He received 25 coupon books, one for each year. Each contains 52 coupons for one free pizza. Each coupon is only valid for 1 week of the year. Story 58. Friend of mine won a lifetime supply of mac and cheese during university. Being poor, that's all they ate. They developed scurvy. I wish I could make this up. This was 20 years ago. I don't believe they can touch it now. Story 59. Way back when in the year 2000, I sunk a half-court shot at halftime of my high school basketball game. I got a year supply of pizza one a week, 52 total. I was a drama kid so it wasn't pretty. Did a layup okay, free throw was bad, three-point shot was an atrocity to mankind. But that half-court shot was nothing but net. It was a local chain and the pizza was good, but it got old about halfway through. If I'm using the lingo right, I used the pizza to be a Rizzler and got a girl. She's now my wife and we have 2 kids, so it turned out alright. Story 60. My fiancée was given a printable coupon for a free bag of Doritos back in 2011 from the company. There was no limit and no expiration, so we could get as many as we wanted as often as we were inclined to. For about a year, we had so many chips, then, we started to feel guilty and eventually never used the coupon again. I'm not even sure where it is anymore. Story 61. At a golf tournament I won 10 cases of Techron from Chevron. Definitely an odd prize. I ended up going to the local Chevron and the owner bought all 10 cases, from a fuel additive to cash. Not too bad. Story 62. Not a win, but I bought a lifetime subscription to Lord of the Rings Online for $299 in maybe 2009. The game is free to play now, but I still have the premium features as of a month ago. Story 63. My father was a crew chief in the US Army during Vietnam, stationed in Germany working on Deuce and a Halfs and Hueys. A local Volkswagen dealership had a stunt driving contest, with the winner receiving a lifetime of free maintenance on their VW. When Dad won, funny enough, he had to lie to his CO about where he'd been. Since everyone on base had been forbidden to participate, he explained to the dealership that he was moving home after his tour was up. The dealership in turn told him a deal was a deal, and they'd front any expenses on maintenance for his car, as long as he got it back to the US on his own dime. He was able to do so with some of his saved money, and he's never driven a non-VW since. The local dealership in KC knows him on site and treats him well. Story 64. It wasn't a lifetime supply, but I did win a year supply of Oreos. There was a contest at my local grocery store and my mom insisted I go, so reluctantly, I biked down there and competed in an Oreo stacking contest. I won, but I was also the only person who entered. I was given 52 coupons and was allowed to use one each week for a pack of any Oreos I wanted. I was in 7th grade, so it was pretty sweet, and my mom never bought name brand. I felt pretty cool. Story 65. I won a lifetime supply of Gillette razor blades, shaving cream and aftershave while in college. I don't even know how I won. The shaving cream and aftershave was the travel size. They shipped 30 large boxes to my college while I was living in the dorms and I couldn't even store them. I kept one box that lasted me about 5 years. I gave some to friends and the rest to the university, and they gave them away as freshman packages the next year. Story 66. Not so much as win, but a brewery near me was doing a promotion where if you went to an event they hosted and got a tattoo of their logo, it was around $300. You were promised free beer for life, which consisted of a single package of beer, 6-pack, 12-pack, large bottle, growler, etc., once a week for life. The brewery closed down about 2 years after this promotion, and the owner fled across the country with a ton of people angry with him. Luckily another better brewery took over the spot, and to this day is offering people that got the tattoo 50 off a pack of beer every week for life, even though they have absolutely no obligation to do so. So in the end it's a happy ending, and I have a new favorite brewery. Story 67. There's a little known VPN called Windscribe. They hosted a video contest where you had to randomly generate a username on their site and make a video that related to it in some way that was no more than 30 seconds long. I came in 2nd place. I won 1,000 a lifetime license to Windscribe VPN. This was in 2018 I believe, and I will use it.
Pretty good service. My entry for the Curious.
Story 68. I have 5 free pints every Friday if I chose to go in my local pub. They had a fairly large pool tournament where the winner got to play 1st to 7 versus a county player. What they was really unaware of was the county player was my friend. He was the only reason I entered, but he said if it's me in the final, hell, go easy enough that I can win. Won 7-6, and any time we go there he gets 2 of the free pints. Was some horrible local ale they stopped doing, but they stuck to the word and now it's Guinness. Story 69. At a tech convention in Atlanta one time, I won yearly training for life from a tech training company. Was a boot camp type for making a 30-foot putt on mat on concrete. You got 3, and it was perfectly smooth concrete. I thought it was a trick ball or something, but nope, straight in, all 3. They changed their name the next week and nullified the deal soon after. They had like 3 winners from my company, 11 total I think. Story 70. It wasn't a lifetime supply, but I did win a large avocados from Mexico contest and got a ton of avocados and tools to open them, and towels. We made a loads of guacamole for weeks. Story 71. I won a lifetime supply of bagels from Einstein Bagels during prom after party like 20 years ago. I used it for a decade then gave it to my mom. They give us 15 free bagels a week. She has used it every single week and just got a bag of 15 to take home. My college had an Einstein Brothers in it and I went to get a bagel once on like the 3rd day of school. I told them about my free bagel and the employee didn't believe me. She goes and gets the manager and he looks at me and goes, "So you are the guy everyone keeps talking about." Then I got my free bagel. Apparently they only did this once and I was it. I've never won anything before or since. Story 72. I was little, like 6 to 7 years old. My name was pulled in a drawing at the Mall of America where I won lifetime rides for life. Got my photo taken with a bunch of MOA Camp Snoopy execs and had a short clip in the local news about it. In January every year I had to come in and get a photo ID similar to the employee ones. A few years later Camp Snoopy dissolved and it turned into a Nickelodeon-themed park instead. My rides for life only worked for the first year and after that they no longer recognized me as winning rides for life.